Black Mountain is located in Hazara division of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. Tor Ghar is Pushto word which means Tor Ghar. It is also called Kala Dhaka, which means the same as its Pushto name in Hindko, a local language spoken by the people of Tanawal and Agror, which are located on the eastern side of Tor Ghar. However, the original name of this mountain is Tor Ghar. Tor Ghar lies to the east of the River Indus from Thakot to Darband. The total length of this mountain is about 25 to 30 miles and its average height about 8,000 feet above sea level. It ascends from the Indus basin at its southern end near the village of Hazara and goes up to its watershed near the village Barada. Then it runs northeast by north to the point on the crest known as Chitterbat. From here the range runs due north, finally descending to the Indus by two large spurs, at the foot of the easternmost of which lies Thakot. The Indus, after passing Thakot, turns westward along the northern foot of the mountain till it washes the western of the two aforementioned spurs, when it takes a sharp bend to the south, and runs below and parallel to the western foot of this mountain range. Boundaries: Tor Ghar is bounded on the south by Tanawal, on the east by Agror, Pariri, Tikari, Nandia and Deshi. On the northern extremity lies the Indus and Thakot, and on the west between the crest and the River Indus. These slopes fall steeply from the crest for some 2,000 feet, then follows a zone of gentle, well-cultivated slopes, and then from 4,000 to 5,000 feet altitude the hill drops precipitously to the Indus. The actual Indus Valley here varies in width from a few hundred yards to nearly 2 miles, being narrowest at Kotkai and at its broadest at Palosi. It is crossed at about 11 different points by ferries, the boats holding from 20 to 30 passengers, but the inhabitants pass over the river almost everywhere on inflated skins. The mountain, Tor Ghar, lies between 34th 32 and 34th 50 N and 72nd 48 and 72nd 58 E. The mountain may be described as a long, narrow ridge with higher peaks at intervals, and occasional deep passes. The general outline of the crest is more rounded than sharp. The numerous large spurs projecting from the sides are often precipitous and rocky, with deep, narrow glens or gorges lying between them, in which are some of the smaller villages of the tribes, the larger ones being, as a rule, situated on the banks of the Indus. The whole of the upper portion of the mountain is thickly wooded, with pine, oak, sycamore, horse chestnut and wild cherry. A crest of the mountain is crossed by several passes. Climate: the climate of Tor Ghar is very fine in spring and autumn, but winters are very severe because of the snowfall in sufficient quantity which stops communication over the crest. From proximity of the mountain to the sulky valley of the Indus, the heat in summer, even at the highest elevation, is nearly as warm as that of the plains. Heavy rain generally falls in the spring and early autumn, and storms frequently occur. The principal tribes. The western slope of Tor Ghar is inhabited by following subclans of the Chavez Pashtun tribe: the Madakels, the Chavez Eyes, the Chavez Eyes, the Chavez Eyes. Eyes of the second son of Yusuf had 3 sons, Mada, Hassan and Aka. The Madakels, Hassan's eyes and Aka's eyes of the descendants, whereas the Shagar's eyes of the descendants of Shagar, who was one of the son of Mali. Mali was one of the brother of Isa. These subclans have been described in detail in the succeeding paragraphs. The Madakels. Madakil is a division of the Izazai clan of Yusufzai tribe. They are among the dwellers on the Black Mountain. The Madakil country is on the northern slopes of the Mahaban mountain down to the right bank of the Indus, and is bounded on the north by the Hassan's Eyes, on the east by the Indus, and on the south and west by the Tanawal and Agror. The Madakil have 3 subdivisions and are considered more enlightened than the other Izazai tribesmen. Most of the villages are on the Mahaban mountain, only 2 being on the banks of the Indus. The easiest approaches to Madakil territory pass through the Hasanzai territory. Madakils are further divided into following sections and subsections. The Hasanzais. The Hasanzais are a division of the Azizai clan of Yusufzai tribe and live on either side of the Indus. Those Cis Indus occupy the most southern portion of the western slopes of Tor Ghar, while those Trans-Indus live immediately opposite to them. The former area is bounded on the north and east by the Agazais, on the west by the Indus, and on the south by the Hasanzai border which adjoins the territory of Tanawal, the former state of Amb. The Hasanzais are further divided into following 10 sections. The Agazais, like other divisions of Azizai clan of Yusufzai tribe, the Agazais inhabit a portion of the crest and western slopes of the Tor Ghar, to the north of Hasanzais having on the easter part of Agra and Pirieri, to the north Chavez and to the west the Indus. The southern face of Makaisar belongs to Agazais, which is the highest peak of Tor Ghar. The main villages are Kand, Bimble and Bilianri. Other Akazai villages are Darbandri, Kana, Bakri, Lade, Lazhora, Bakinra, Morata, Toramalari. During the Sikh rule and up to 1868 Akazais held the village of Shouted in Agra Valley. Akazais are further divided into following sections and subsections. The Chavez Eyes. The Chavez Eyes or Chavez Eyes are a division of the Malazai clan of the Yusufzai tribes. They are the descendants of Chaga the son of Mali who was one of the sons of Yusuf. They occupy the country on either side of the River Indus, those Cis Indus being located on the western slopes of Tor Ghar, to the north of the Akazais. They are divided into 3 subdivisions. The southern boundary of the Cis Indus Chavez is contiguous with it of the Akazais, and follows the spur of the Tor Ghar running from the Makaisar to the Indus bank, the southern face of the spur belonging to the Akazais and the northern to the Chavez. On the west and north the Indus forms the boundary, while on the east the Chagazais are bounded by the territory of the Deshi walls and of the Parari sides. The 3 Chavez subdivisions are further divided into following sections and subsections. The Black Mountain campaigns by the British. The Black Mountain tribes had never been under direct British rule, although it was generally accounted to be part of the frontier region, provincial tribal areas from circa 1901 onwards and nominally attached to the then Hazara district. The tribes had been involved in fighting with British for quite some time, and a number of famous Black Mountain expeditions or campaigns took place between 1852 and the 1920s. Brief account of the British expeditions against the Tor Ghar tribes is as under Lieutenant Colonel F. Maxson, 1852–53, against the Hasanzais. The occasion was the murder of 2 British customs officers. A force of 3,800 British troops traversed their country, destroying the villages, grain and crops. Under Major General A. T. Wild, 1868. The occasion was an attack on a British police post at Oggi in the Agra Valley by all 3 tribes. A force of 12,544 British troops entered the country and the tribes made peace. The First Hazara Expedition 1888. The cause was the constant raids made by the tribes on villages in British territory, culminating in an attack on a small British detachment, in which 2 English officers were killed. A force of 9,416 British troops traversed the country of the tribes and severely punished them. The Second Hazara Expedition, 1891. The Black Mountain tribes fired on a force within British limits. A force of 7,300 British troops traversed the country. The tribesmen made peace and entered into an agreement with the government to preserve the peace of the border. The Black Mountain tribes provided the following fighting men for famous Umbela operation of December 1863. Chavez Eyes, 2000 Chavez Eyes, 1000 Mardikels, 4000 Chavez Eyes, 6000. Tor Ghar becomes the 25th district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. After the creation of Pakistan on 14 August 1947, Tor Ghar was given the formal status of a provincially administered tribal area. Since then it has been under the administrative control of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, then Northwest Frontier Province. Tor Ghar became the 25th district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa on 28 January 2011, and the 6th district of the Hazara division. Judba is the capital of this newly born district with following tehsils: Judba, Kanda Hassansai, Mardikil,